Devontae successfully did what Chris tried to do to Jess to Brittany. And let's talk about it. When I made that video about Chris, one of the things I spoke about was how an insecure man like Chris tried to diminish the self-worth and value of a woman like Jess, a woman that was well above his league, a high caliber woman, so that there would be a power dynamic, right, between their relationship where he held all of the power, where she would then rely on him in order to feel worthy, to feel lovable, to feel good enough, right, so that he was needed in some way. But a woman like Jess knows her worth. She knows her value. Her priority is not being chosen. Her priority is not being a wife. Her priority is safety and stability and finding a partnership. And if someone did not meet that criteria, she was okay with walking away. So of course that tactic would not work on someone like Jess. But unfortunately, with someone like Brittany, where her entire value is tied to a man choosing her, because with that validation came her self-worth. She couldn't find that intrinsically. And so with someone like Brittany, that tactic will absolutely work. He picked her apart slowly. It wasn't as overt as what Chris did to Jess. It was over time and it was subtle. It was covert. It was more hidden, right? It was, instead of adding insult, it was withdrawing and taking away affection. It was refusing to give compliments, right? It was taking things away and withholding instead of giving, if that makes sense. And that still causes the same level of damage and same level of insecurity, especially in women. And so instead of straight up telling her, you're not my type, I'm not attracted to you, he just refuses to tell her she's beautiful. He refuses to give her physical and verbal affection. And over time, that started to diminish her self-esteem and her self-worth, and inevitably led her to wanting that validation from him. And the thing is, it didn't even have to be Devontae. Brittany, before going on this show, was wired this way. And I don't know the dynamics between her parents. I don't know her upbringing, but based off of what she was willing to deal with, willing to put up with, willing to accept, willing to ignore, I can bet every dollar in my bank account that she's never experienced a safe love. That, most importantly, she's never witnessed a safe love in her household growing up. Because if this is what is familiar to her, that is going to be the only thing she accepts, and honestly, the thing she naturally gravitates towards and chases. And the sad thing is, with a lot of women, when we have been conditioned to believe by society that we are worthless unless we are chosen, things like this happen all the time. Men, and this is talking about heterosexual relationships, men are often able to get away with so much more. Because women like Brittany see men seeing being chosen as the prize. And to her, if she's not chosen, that means she must not be enough. She's the type of woman that goes on a first date, and instead of thinking, will I like him, she constantly thinks about whether or not the guy will like her. And again, this is not to shame Brittany. I feel like so many of us have been Brittany, and which is why it was really painful for me to witness that. I wish she knew her worth. I wish she knew her value. I wish she knew that there's more to life than being a wife. And that being a wife might feel good for all but 5 minutes when you choose the wrong man, when you choose the wrong life partner. This is what happens when you glamorize things like the title of being a wife, being a mother, the wedding, the dress, the ring. When you fantasize and glamorize the surface level shit that comes with marriage, you often overlook what the aftermath could be, what the consequences could be of choosing the wrong partner. Because marriage is so much more than the fancy dress she bought well before the show. Marriage is so much more than being a wife, than the ring. Marriage is union, it's heartbreak, it's pain, it's communication, it's work. And I'm not saying that all marriage is supposed to be painful. I'm not saying that. But with the wrong partner, it's a nightmare. But she's not seeing it that way because, again, to her, her value means she needs a husband, right? In order for her to see herself as enough, she needs a husband. She needs someone else to give her permission to love herself.